because we are joined by someone who has been riding for days and many, many kilometres. So I just want to introduce you to Rupert Guinness, and he's joined by Tomo this morning. Now, Rupert is currently riding the Race Across America, which, for those that don't know, is one of the most respected and longest running ultra endurance events in the world. There's no other race like it. Unlike the three great European Grand Tours, this is not a stage race. This is one continual stage. Once the clock starts, it doesn't stop until the finish line. It is the world's longest time trial, the ultimate race of truth. So racers must cycle 3,000 miles across 12 states and climb over 170,000 vertical feet. Now, as you can see, Rupert's climbing a hill as we speak, so our timing wasn't perfect, but I'm going to hand over to his very good friend Tomo, and they're going to have a chat about all things virtual racing and just endurance. So over to you both.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, it's really great to have Rupert Guinness on board with us today, and Rupert is going through one hell of a journey at the moment. He started on Tuesday night last week. So he's been traveling. He's been sitting on that saddle on his bike that you can see for over a week. Just picture it. And he's only been getting up to maximum, well, somewhere between 4 and 6 hours of sleep every day. That's not much. So he's been on that saddle for the best part of 20 hours every day. Just imagine it. And he was probably up at 3:30 this morning. I can't actually see Rupert, Claire, so I'm not actually, I don't actually know what he's going through right now, if he's climbing or descending. But if you can give me an image of Rupert, it would certainly help me.
Yeah, Tomo, if you just pop it onto gallery view at your end.
Okay, gallery view. I can't see gallery view on my phone, but we'll continue. All right, just a little bit of background on Rupert.
Sorry, Tomo. Swipe sideways and you'll be able to get gallery view.
Oh, yeah, I see Rupert now. Thanks very much.
No worries.
All right. Yeah, technology, Rip. I'm a little bit backward when it comes to modern technology. You just keep pedaling away, my friend, and let me set things up for you. Rupert is probably the most respected sports journalist in Australia, and that respect has come out of the fact that he was the first Aussie to go to Europe, leave everything behind here in Australia, and live in France, and I guess put the Tour de France on the map as far as us over here are concerned, learning about it, reading about it, and understanding the concept. He was there before anyone else from Australia. I think Rupert arrived for the first time in 1987, lived there for 10 years, speaks the language fluently, and knows a thing or two about the sport of cycling, to the point where he has competed in events like the one he's doing right now. He has ridden across Australia not once, but almost twice, a handful of years ago. And I think as he gets older, he likes to do these endurance events. Race Across America, as Claire said, is an incredible event. It started from California. It'll finish in Annapolis on the east coast of the United States, so from coast to coast. Now, you might be thinking, hang on a sec, he's not moving. That is right. Rupert is not moving. He is sitting stationary on his bike. For the first time, the organisers have been forced to cancel the event. They're not actually in the United States, but they're pedaling away from their respective homes around the world. There are 16 or 17 of them. Rupert is in Sydney, in Mona Vale, at a car yard, G Brothers Mercedes-Benz in Mona Vale, and he is pedaling, looking at a screen, as he has done so for over a week. The screen is in front of him, and he is racing across America virtual. Just like everybody else is riding across Thailand or down Thailand virtual, Rupert is doing exactly the same across America, but he is in a race. And Rupert, just tell us, how many kilometres have you clocked up in just over 1 week?
Yeah, hi Tomo. I'm sort of approaching 2,100 kilometres, 2,100 kilometres. I think I was about 2,060 or 70 when I got back cycling this morning.
Well, Rip, just tell us, when you are when you do need some time to focus on your climbing and where you're at, just let me know, and I'll carry the can for you. I'll take over the driver's seat if you don't mind.
Oh, Tom, that wouldn't be the first time, mate. So I'm still here, so obviously I'll be in safe hands if that happens, mate.
Now, Rupert, tell us, you prepared for over a year for this. Tell us about the preparation. How much pain did you go through? How much pain are you going through now?
Well, the preparation that I've had with my coach Marco Bello from Slovenia, who finished second overall in RAM last year, and he's done it 9 times. The preparation has been really good and thorough. He's a guy who obviously knows how to prepare, and he coaches other athletes as well, and he has a great template for preparation. And I'd say right now that preparation has gone really well, because I'm fatigued, but I'm feeling pretty good. So, and that's the essence of any preparation. It's not just to feel good at the start, but to feel good relatively so, as I'm panting, relatively so at the back end of the race, or the pointy end, when things can fall apart so drastically.
Rupert, is it possible to turn the camera around and show the people that are watching this interview what you're looking at?
Yeah, we can do that. Kent Williams is just with me. He's just going to do this now, so if you just hold on and we'll see what happens.
Does that show you?
Yeah, that's good.
That's
so
what are you doing
right now, Rupert? Is it a climb?
Yeah. It's a climb, I think, in California. It's called the Altigo climb. I'm actually on the way back. It was about 14 kilometres up on the way out, and I'm going back, although I'm just in between a little dip, so it's rising again now just a little while, then it'll be a descent to the finish.
All right.
That dot there.
Yeah, on the far left of your screen, Tomo, you can see the topography of the route, and there's a white dot which looks like the moon, but that's me.
Okay. Well, you say you're in California, but these are little segments, just to make it clear for everybody. Where exactly are you across America right now? Which state? Colorado or beyond?
A few hours ago, when I last looked at the dot tracker, I was in Colorado, even though I'm riding in California from Mona Vale in Sydney.
Yeah, so just to explain to everybody, you're looking at different segments. The whole course hasn't been recorded. Different segments have been recorded, but you'll be covering that 4,500 kilometres in total.
That's right, and the segments are all aligned in order from one to the very last one that we have to do. So you have to ride each segment, and then you upload the segment when you finish it, and then you move on to the next one. You can't change the order. The order's set, so that makes it fair for everybody. You could be doing an easy stage, and then there's a series of hard mountain stages, another series of easier stages. So everybody has to do them in the same sequence.
Rupert, you're into day 8 or day 9 now. What have you noticed about yourself, your conditioning, your fitness with every passing day from the start last Tuesday night?
I'm finding that I'm relatively new to this genre of, excuse me for wiping my face, this genre of ultra distance cycling, but I've got some experience with my 2 Indy packs or Indian Pacific wheel races, which you referred to before, across Australia, and the Revolve 24-hour races. And what I'm learning is all those experiences help so much for the next experience you do. So I know how these sort of events, you do fall into a hole several times in a day. You can't avoid that. And that's from a physical point of view, from a psychological point of view. But what I do know is I can come out of those holes. So when I go through a bad patch, I don't get anxiety or get overawed by it. I just recognise what it is, and I have that confidence just to keep pedaling, think of something else, refuel, and it's just a passing phase. So that's how I'm feeling right now. So I'm feeling confident, feeling strong, and this is what ultra endurance riding is about. Every ride you go on, you learn from, which I'm sure you know, and what you guys with the ride there are doing. You get so much experience, even through the hard patches. And actually, they're the most important patches, those hard patches, because you learn from skill levels to psychological levels.
But Rip, it's different for you because you are actually racing. You've got to meet a target every day. There's a deadline at the end of all this. You've got 12 days to complete the distance. So you've got a goal each and every day. The people that are watching you, listening to you, it's basically just a cruise down the coast of Thailand. It's totally different. Tell us about the goals that you've got to meet every day.
Well, the goals range from the target you set for that day, of how many kilometres you want to ride. At the same time, you've got to be flexible enough to adapt to how the circumstances of your day may impact that possibility of the result. Now, those circumstances can range from, physical well-being. There can be situations where, like in a virtual race, which is reliant on technology, such as with the smart trainers, that can impact your day. Like my smart trainer blew up at about 3 a.m. on day 3 or 4. So, and in those situations, you have to keep calm, even though you get really frustrated. But that's where your support crew comes into the fray. They've really got to be switched on and be strong in keeping you focused on what your job is, which is to ride the bike. But when there's a glitch and I'm forced to stop, I've got to use that stoppage wisely, like to have a rest or something. So it's really, while it's me riding the bike, this is very much a team effort where you're really reliant on the skills of each of your support crew.
Yeah, and you've got a super team behind you. You've got a paramedic there in Troy. You've got a logistics person in Kent Williams. You've got the guy that's driving the team in Anthony Gordon. Who are some of the other people that's supporting you?
Well, I've got my physio, Orla Cunningham, who's she's been my physio, for years. From my Ironman triathlon days when she's put me back together so many times before Ironman. And so she's here. I've got my head performance coach, Tony Kiss, who's full of wisdom and knowledge about how to activate the brain and your thoughts and how to compartmentalise the challenges you face in the day. My wife, Libby, she's here. Her support is not just, as a member of the team and her tasks that she does, but obviously she's the one who puts up living with me day to day all year, doing all the training, the stuff that a lot of people don't see. We've also got, we said Anthony Gordon, we said Troy Peters, medico, who works as a paramedic. And what's great about having a paramedic is, they work on first responder situations. They're really great at being calm under obviously very stressful circumstances. And Troy's calm under pressure is fantastic. Not that he may say that I've tested his calm under pressure several times, but he's a great asset to have. We've got a media team. We've got Sally Heggenbotham, who's been running all our social media, churning it out. And actually not just churning it out, but just really smartly using it in all the different forums of media, which is so important these days. And Peter Cunningham, who's our media manager, trying to link us up with all the media from cycling specialist publications to mainstream, such as yourself at SBS and Channel 9. And, even overseas, we had a call from the Telegraph in London who are doing a story. So,
oh, wow.
It's a great operation we've got here, and this is what we want to take to RAM for next year, for real RAM.
That's fantastic, Rupert. And for those who are unaware, you can follow Rupert on his Instagram. Check out VRAM, Virtual Race Across America. Go to all the social media sites. They're putting out a daily video, a wrap, which doesn't go for too much. It doesn't go for very long, 2 or 3 minutes. Anthony Gordon does a great job. And follow the SBS Cycling Central website because you can see Rupert's progress, exactly where he is by following the dots. And Rupert is actually a dot on a map, as are the other 16 or 17. But Rupert, it's totally different racing across a continent virtual without actually moving a centimetre. And you haven't moved at all in the last 7 or 8 days. You've raced across Australia. The reason why you're here is because the race itself across America was cancelled. How much of a setback was that, knowing that you were planning on arriving in California with the view of racing across the continent for real, but that didn't happen?
Yeah, look, obviously disappointing that it was cancelled, but I think as a lot of people who've had things cancelled with the onset of the COVID pandemic, you can understand why. So that disappointment was fairly short-lived because of the, the natural reason for it. But one of the things that came from it, obviously, you put the best part of a year of preparation for RAM. One of the fortunate things was that the idea to have VRAM came up, and that was a great initiative through Anthony Gordon, who came up with the idea initially, and it actually helped the momentum of my preparation physically and also in my head. Basically continued on from, I just thought, well, I'm going to have to just continue what I'm doing, preparing for VRAM as I was for RAM, except I'm going to have to obviously style my training now towards more rides on the Smart Trainer indoors.
Yeah. Where are you now? Are you on a straight, flat stretch of road, or are you still climbing?
I'm just started another. I was in California coming down the mountain, and in that, just as I answered that question, I've gone on to another ride, and it's another mountain ride, but I'm not sure where. I think it's a 22-kilometre climb coming up. But I'm at the easy part at the bottom right now. Nice little.
Right. Well, if you need to take a breath, you just let me know, and be more than happy to sit in the back seat for you and just carry the can, okay?
Okay, you'll probably be able to see whether I need a switch here,
Rupert, what time did you start this morning?
This morning I started actually a bit later, because I finished at 1:45 a.m. And so
why did you finish so late? Why? Because your times have been varied, haven't they? Your start times and finish times. Why so late in the day from yesterday?
Mainly because I was on a mountain. So I pinpointed which would be my last ride. Ideally, I was looking at around midnight, or maybe just over midnight. But I like to, when I say midnight, I usually like to say, well, whatever ride I'm on at midnight. It just so happened the ride I just started before midnight was a really big mountain to climb, because that's where we're in a phase where there's back-to-back mountains, and it was just a long grind, which at the end of an already almost 20-hour day, your speed and energy is at its lowest ebb at that day. But I just had to grind away with it. I was getting a little bit sleepy at the same time. My eyes were going like this a bit, and my dot never seemed to move, and that gets pretty frustrating. But you just have to think of every pedal stroke and just persevere, and so that's why in the end, like when I finished the ride, obviously then I think about getting ready for the next day. So I'll have a quick wash, put the next day's cycling clothing on, so then I don't have to, worry about getting dressed. So I go to lay down for a rest with fresh kit on. And then I also go for, what I'm doing now is I'm going for a short walk, only 5 minutes. But after being indoors here, while this is very open, you've seen it, Tomo, it's an open place, but you still need that real fresh air in the sense of being outdoors. And just 100 metres from here is where the street is. And just that little time alone in the quietness in the middle of the night, being able to walk, and just a few minutes of self-composure before it really helps you go to bed or go to sleep very quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you are living in the northern suburbs of Sydney, pop into Mona Vale. Rupert, you don't mind having visitors. A lot of people have come in to support you, to give you a little bit of morale, and just to watch the whole setup. But go to G Brothers at the Mercedes-Benz dealer there in the northern suburbs of Sydney at Mona Vale. Rupert, you're planning on backing up and doing this for real next year, coronavirus pending, of course, it's going to be totally different. You have raced across Australia, as I've mentioned, but it's a totally different scenario. The dynamic is different. You're facing the natural elements, the burning sun, the wind. There's no burning sun where you are. It's the middle of winter. There's no wind where you are, apart from the people that are talking to you. How different will it be next year?
I think you summed it up pretty well, Tomo, just that. There's going to be all of those conditions plus some, you know. I mean, obviously, even in some of those, you know, we go through 12 states across America, and some of those states are exposed to, you know, really strong winds. You know, we've got, I mean, I think there's 3 mountain ranges, and there's a couple of deserts, and you've got searing heat, you've got humidity, cold winds, snow, and everything. So what I think is going to be great now is I'm very happy with the foundation I've got already for next year. So I think what I can work on, and we'll do a debrief about areas to work on, but with the preparation, I think I can be a bit more imaginative for next year to have some training camps, if I can get it facilitated in some locations which will expose me to the conditions like what you spoke about. You know, such as maybe the heat and humidity of Thailand would be a great place to go to for a week and get some really good kilometres and training and going, and maybe you know, could go up to around Cape York in the northern tip of Australia. I may go to Dubai and do some riding in the deserts of Dubai if I can.
Wow. All that. Okay, so a lot of training coming up. And the reason I brought that up was because I do remember you doing the IndyPac, the Indian Pacific wheel race across Australia. And sure, you didn't have a team behind you. And sure, it was an event where it was solo. You were virtually, well, you were by yourself for something like a month. And I remember the videos that you were posting back then. You were going through some very emotional times because racing across Australia, look, driving across Australia can be quite emotional. But when you're on 2 wheels with no support, with no one to talk to, facing the elements, it can be a wild, lonely place. And that's the reason why I brought up the fact that it'll be totally different next year when you're racing across America for real. The elements are incredible. I can remember you breaking down a few times when you posted those videos for your followers when you raced across Australia. How emotional was that?
Oh, look, I think, yeah, that was emotion which was brought on, a mixture of, you know, obviously from fatigue. I think I said, and I wrote my book in Overlander about one of the things that attracted me to this type of riding is that I believe that a lot of us in the world are very lucky to have led a very comfortable life and not really have had our survival instinct really tested. And I'm not saying this, you know, these rides are about survival, but they do offer you an opportunity to be exposed emotionally and physically, almost to bottom out to find out how much you can sustain the pressures of the environment you're in. So going back to that first Indian Pacific wheel race in 2017, yeah, when I think back to that, how wide-eyed I was about the whole experience, you know, crossing the Nullarbor, it's a massive expanse of land and it's so dark. It's very easy to feel so isolated. So I think some of those moments, they were moments of fatigue, also a sense of vulnerability, being out there in that environment. I wouldn't say fear, because I know there was ways to be saved if you know, assisted if you're in trouble. But you do feel alone, and it was, for me, my first major test of having to rely on my naturally born instinct as a human being to handle the pressures. But I think it really reflected, you know, about maybe the comfortable life that I've had the privilege to have led in the cocoon of first world cities, you know, and well, getting out to the outback, you know, all those luxuries aren't there. It's just up to you to deal with it. And obviously I got through it, because when I did IndyPac the second time, I felt none of those emotions where I overawed by the situation I was in. So already by then, I learned so much from it, and it was such a great building block. And those experiences have transferred to how I'm feeling right now, and I hope it will transfer again to how I'll tackle RAM next year.
Rup, you've written a number of books. I'm not exactly sure how many, 12, 13, 14? How many
15.
15 books. The last one being The Overlander. And as you mentioned, it documents the experiences of racing across Australia. But in that book, you highlight the fact that you've had some mental battles in your time and some illnesses. You've revealed all those personal issues in the book, in the latest book, which was released, 2 years ago now. It's the latest book. You haven't written anymore because you've been busy sitting on a saddle. Tell us about the personal battles and what sort of message can you send to people that are watching here today?
I mean, in a nutshell, without going through the whole book, but like when I was a kid at school, I was quite rotund. You know, I had a, you know, I get big very quickly. You know, the smell of a peach and there's 3 kilos on me. But I think, you know, when I was a kid, I was never good at what was perceived as the cool sports. You know, and which happened to be ball sports. You know, cricket, basketball, tennis. So I guess I felt I was seen as a bit of, you know, being uncoordinated. Even in rugby that I enjoyed, I was quite often, the only position I played was tight head prop. And then they never passed the ball to the tight head prop. I didn't even touch the rugby ball. So I think through those formative years, I developed a you know, lacking self-esteem, which was heightened by my me being seen as large and, or let's be honest, you know, being seen as fat, because my nickname was Meatball. So while I wasn't bullied, I wouldn't say that, but I think at that young age, it's very easy for people to be impacted by what are seen as light-hearted remarks, but they can leave a really embedded dent internally or emotionally over the years. So I think that happened. And then as my get out was to focus on endurance sports, because I think at that time, endurance sports gave me a sense of, I guess I didn't realise at the time, but maybe a sense of empowerment. It gave me confidence, because I thought I was doing something that the others, rather it being negative, me not being able to play cricket and tennis and stuff, I was doing something that they couldn't do. And I was doing something which was willing to test myself to see how far I can go in something, which I thought, heck, that's harder than, you know, hitting a cricket ball. So, so that all developed over the years. So, you know, rowing became a sport that I got involved in. And that's one of the most painful sports you can imagine, when you're on threshold with 250 metres to go in a race. That's about enduring, you know, sustaining the pain and still having more to give. So I really loved rowing, as much as rowing was so painful. But I became a lightweight rower. So we had to weigh in like jockeys and boxers before the fights, before races. So that required me to lose quite a lot of weight. I had to, you know, get on the scales regularly. I became obsessed with the scales, where I was getting on them every hour. I was reluctant to even drink a glass of water because I was afraid that it was going to put weight on. And then I enjoy my food, obviously. And then, so one thing led to another, and I remember one thing led to another, which became the eating disorder, bulimia. I still remember to this day the first time I regurgitated my food. And I thought, gee, that's such an easy, simple get out, so I can still eat and still be on weight. But very quickly that turned into the beast of bulimia, where I was doing it all the time. And it's a condition that I still wrestle with today. And usually it's when fatigue, emotions, stress get the better of me. And it comes from nowhere, you know, like, comes out like the robber in the dark, you know, from behind a tree. You know, you feel dangerous a bit, and suddenly there's bulimia getting a hold of you. And you're sort of out of control of it in some ways, you know. So I still have to wrestle with that. So that's the sort of mindset that I've been in. So to get behind, at the end of the day, when I got out of IndyPac, was not to be, before, like a lot of people, you sort of hide your weaknesses or perceived weaknesses. You know, you can become ashamed of them. And when I got out of IndyPac, and going back to the issue you said about me being exposed as vulnerable with my Facebook videos, you shouldn't be ashamed. You know, don't be ashamed to be emotional. Don't be ashamed to not be the best at something. Don't be ashamed because you're not actually good at something. Be proud that you're having a crack at something, you know. That's already a win. And vulnerabilities, if I can just finish, vulnerabilities are not a weakness. It's just that they're just areas of growth. So if you tackle those areas of growth, that's a positive thing. That's an exciting thing. So these perceived, or these areas of growth and your strengths, they're a part of it. So it's that balance. So I'm quite, I'm not ashamed of saying I'm bulimic, you know. I'm not ashamed of saying I get scared. You know, it's a part of me. But I also know I've got strengths which help me get out of these situations, which also goes back to those moments like we were talking before about being in a hole. You can get out of these situations. The human being's much stronger than, you know, we're much stronger than what we give ourselves credit for. So that's why I love doing what I'm doing now, like climbing a mountain.
Well, Rip, you know, you have taught me to learn to be emotional and not to be afraid to be emotional. I was getting a little bit choked up just listening to you just now. I mean, us blokes, we tend to want to be macho. We tend to want to hide our emotions sometimes. But I got to tell you, Rip, whenever I listen to you talk, I do well up in the eyes, and I got some chills just then. But apart from the bulimia, which you spoke of, you are an ambassador now of the Black Dog Institute, the mental health charity. You raced, well, didn't race, but you rode, as you mentioned before, from Cairns to the tip of Cape York in Northern Australia last year. And there's a good reason for that. Can you briefly tell us why you're linked with the Black Dog?
Well, I mean, the tour was, you know, obviously a great experience. That tour went into a lot of the Indigenous areas, which obviously, you know, which in the conditions of the Indigenous population in Australia, I'd say a lot of white Australians are ignorant of. I am. I learned so much more in that 1 week of a very hard tour on mountain bikes off-road and in passing through Indigenous communities in the morning and the evening than I knew, that I ever knew. You know, I was embarrassed to realise how little I did know about it and the lack of opportunity those, you know, they have up there. You know, I don't know what the answer is, except to be open to admitting you don't know and to say you want to learn. I reckon that's a simple start that shouldn't have anything to do with politics or government. It's about human beings, you know. And it goes again back to saying, don't be ashamed to say you don't know. Don't be ashamed to say, you know, don't pretend to know what you don't know. Just be willing to learn. And then that's the starting point, and then we can maybe come to it, finding the right solutions. Again, it's nothing to do with politics, it's just about how we treat each other as human beings fairly, you know. So that's what I got out of that tour, and that's what we're trying to also do with VRAM, Virtual Race Across America. You know, it's all about generating a positive spirit at a time of challenge around the world, and that's what, you know, and the overriding cause is mental health. And when you think about it, Tomo, at a time when there's so many, you know, restrictions on the world, on us in the world now because of COVID, this event alone that started as an idea 7 weeks ago has managed to bring together, with the 3 different races they have, you know, 200 riders approximately, 17 in VRAM. Think of it, plus their support crew, and their friends and families and supporters, and the growing awareness of the event. I mean, the pyramid has gone like that. And there's 31 countries are represented on the start list. So here we've got an initiative that, despite the restrictions, travel restrictions, economic restrictions, political and health restrictions, it's an international event, bringing people together just through a bunch of dots on a computer. But we were all able to share it. And I reckon that's pretty bloody amazing.
Yeah.
And again, it shows what we can do as human beings when there's a situation around us where a lot of times people may go, oh, that's too hard. It's not too hard. It's just a matter of wanting to do something. And sorry, I'm just puffing now. It's a matter of wanting to do something. Not wave a magic wand and save the world, but you can have some impact on the world, I think.
Mate, you have made a huge impact on many that know you, many who have followed you, including myself. You seem to be struggling. It's a pretty steep climb you're on, right?
Actually, it's not as steep as I thought. I just looked up there and went, oh, so maybe.
No, it was 10.
Oh, well, I can tell it was 10. It was 10%.
10%. 10%, and it feels like 10% on your legs on that smart trainer that you're on?
Yep, it does. They're pretty, technology is not ever 100%, but it's remarkable how these smart trainers do help you. I mean, how real they can be. We're riding the Jet Black smart trainers, and they're working superbly for us. So I was on another smart trainer, and the one mine that blew up. But the Jet Black ones have got us through really nicely. So I may as well be on the road right now. That's how it feels.
Rup, you're more than halfway. Well, you're more than halfway in terms of days, but not exactly halfway in terms of distance. What's the plan? Will you make the deadline? Will you make the cutoff? When are you expected to finish? 11 p.m. Sydney time on Sunday. So I'll be riding right through to the last hour, and the last minute, the last tick of the clock. How many kilometres I have, I don't know. Because is that important? Is that important? The distance or the days? What's more important?
I mean, the two come hand in hand. But with a view to RAM preparation, having 12 days back to back of 20-hour riding, with all the processes of working out your best sleeping patterns, nutritional patterns, and how your support crew can operate, that's the more important thing. The final kilometres I actually do ride, I guess that's just the cherry on the top, really. But like any pudding, it's what you put in the pudding that makes it taste good. It's not just a cherry on the top that makes the pudding good. So I'm almost certain that when Sunday 11 p.m. comes, we'll be, as a team, pretty chuffed about what we've all achieved, because you need everybody to get that end result. It's not just me. And we'll take lessons from this, from what we've learned as well. We're not going to be smug and say everything's been great. It's actually the things that can be done better that you learn of. They're the most important things. What we learn, where we can change things and make it better for RAM, that's almost, you could say that's the cherry on the cake, because that's going to make us all stronger individually and as a team.
So come 11 p.m. on Sunday, that's when you'll jump off the bike for the last time, yeah? You won't continue and reach and cover the total distance? Yeah,
I don't think I'll jump off like a jockey, because I have to get my cleats out. That could be quite an embarrassing moment.
But what I mean, Rup, is had you done RAM for real and were on location in the United States, you wouldn't just stop there and then after a certain period of time. I think your plan was to make it to the finish line, however long it took. Yeah. I mean, you like to finish what you set out to do, if you can, within
reasons of your health or the circumstances, obviously, like in 2017 in the Indy Pack where Mike Hall was killed, I had no question about it. I had already committed to returning home from Adelaide before the event was cancelled. That was my choice and decision, which I didn't regret for personal reasons. Although I did regret not finishing, there was two different things there. And Sunday night we'll certainly celebrate it. It's still an achievement. I mean, it's an achievement to have started this thing. The alternative could have been don't do it and just think my training so far for RAM, I've got that in the bank. I'll be fine, for next year. This test is the edge that I've needed, and there's still several hard days coming up. And as much as the dark moments will suck, they're the moments I'll need to get through RAM. So, if this VRAM didn't exist, I would have missed an opportunity and just banked on the hope that my training will be enough. And in hindsight, I think it's been good that I'll have another year of preparation, because looking back, well, honestly, I don't think I was ready for RAM this year.
Okay.
I just
very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, this is one hell of a...
I would have given them a mighty shake.
Yeah.
My capabilities.
Mm.
But what I'm learning from this 12 days makes me realise that to get the best out of RAM, which is already hard enough, I'll be better for having more. And having more harder stuff, training. So, I might have finished. I mean, I'll never know. They're all what ifs, aren't they, Tom? So, but I'm on the best possible pathway, I think, right now.
Yeah. Rup, you are the oldest competitor doing virtual race across America. You are an inspiration. Just picture this, everybody listening. They've got 12 days to race their bikes across a continent, which has mountains probably twice the size of what we have here in Australia. The Rockies are an incredible array of mountains, up to, twice the size, as I say. And Rup, I've got to say, I can't wait to ride with you again when this is all over. I wish I was there to party with you on Sunday, and I would be there, but I'm on the air actually on Sunday night because I've got the Tour de France retro stages. And by the time we finish, I think you'll be going home by 2 o'clock in the morning. But nonetheless, my thoughts are with you. As always, I love you, brother. And you have taught me so much in terms of, endurance, persistence, discipline, everything. And I just can't wait to see you, catch up with you in a couple of days.
Hey.
Good luck. Make it to the finish line. I'm with you all the way. A lot of people are with you all the way. You're a good man. And I'll be there. I'll be there as long as possible. Well, over to you, Claire.
Yeah. Hey, and if I could just say thanks for having me, Tomo and Claire, and to everybody at the rides provide, to everybody who's working on it and the people who are riding it. Well done to you all, It's a fantastic initiative. It requires a lot of heart and soul, as you know, of energy that's put in that a lot of people don't see. So, well done for what you've done so far, and all the best for the future with it.
Thank you so much, Rupert. It's we are so grateful for your time this morning, just given what you're doing right now, and this is a week. This we're in the 4th week of this challenge now, and you do get those motivation slumps, and there are those times where you think, can I make it and can I get to the end? So I think for everyone on this morning, this has just been a perfect conversation, and will just help us get to that finish line for us, which is next Tuesday. So thank you. Thank you. And from all of us at Hands, we wish you all the best over the next few days. And as Tomo said, if you're on the Northern Beaches, head down to the Mercedes at Mona Vale and just check out what's going on down there, because it's pretty incredible. So that is a wrap from us today. We've got some great comments coming in from everyone, just saying how amazing this is. We've got New Zealand who's going to be watching you, and thanks for sharing this morning. We've got Susan that said, wow, that's one long ride. So keep up the great work. Thank you so much. And to those of you on the Ride to Provide virtual challenge, don't forget to log your Ks, and we will see you tomorrow morning on Zoom, and later today we've got Kurt Fernley coming up. So if you fancy double session, jump on again at 12 o'clock. Until then, have a great day. Enjoy the riding. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Rupert. Bye, Kent. Bye, Claire.
See ya.